What's up? It's your boy Carcino here. And let's get into it, man. Lil Wayne, Wheezy. This is crazy, man. I'm really having a hard time understanding what's happening here. You know, the distribution, everything. It's just not the way it's supposed to be as far as how things are being transferred, as far as information is being translated. Especially from a major record company that handles hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds. I'm looking at something that's like really odd to me. I'm looking at something that just really baffled me. When I heard Lil Wayne sold his catalog for $100 million, I'm like, wow, okay, well, at least he got $100 million for his catalog. Somebody said that's like really high, even for Lil Wayne's catalog. That's pretty high of a price. Then I come to learn that it wasn't just Lil Wayne's catalog. It was also the masters that he owed for Young Money. Now, when Lil Wayne came out with his own sports agency, and I'm like, who in a right mind would let Lil Wayne be in charge of their careers? And he was putting together a sports agency, the Young Money, I guess, sports agency. I'm like, oh my God, I would not get in business with Lil Wayne. Who would do that? And people was like, it's not Lil Wayne. It's actually a woman. She's really good. That's handling everything. It's Lil Wayne attached to it. Something's gonna go wrong. Who would trust that guy handling business? You guys bashed me. You came after my head. And now you see what he's done in this situation. And now you're like, man, see, no, you was right. And this is not stuff I even want credit for, really. You know, it's just a reminder for you guys. You know, because you all get drunk off the Kool-Aid, and you know, because somebody's a star and it blinds you. You know, they just good at everything they do. No, this is why other people went to school and universities for this stuff, because not everybody's good at this. Everyone's good in their respected fields. Wayne's good at making songs and music. That's his thing. Now, for everybody else, I can't really say what they're good at. You know, I just find it tragic that I find out Lil Wayne sells the masters to Young Money music as well as his. That means, you know, Tiger, I guess he didn't really, well, he wrote a bunch of songs, but his songs was on there. Drake and Nicki is, you know, the two main artists. J Mills, all those records they did. Universal Records now own the masters. And that's heartbreaking if you're Drake and if you're Nicki. Like, did he even come to them and said, hey, let me sell, you know, I'm going to sell you guys the masters back. You guys got a chance to buy your masters back. But here's the thing that, you know, we love Drake. Drake's been on top of the game for 10 years. Right? Now, any music Drake makes from here on out, he would probably own the masters to those copies. But all of his hit records that he made from the past, those records kind of outweigh everything else he's done. Or probably gonna do. You know, artists always think my best project is the next one I'm about to drop. And they think in the now, in the future. They can't think in the present. Which is probably the best way for them to do it. But let's take a really deep look at this picture and see if there's anything that we can, gather from it. Now, when I looked at the situation beforehand, I said to myself, I said, man, this is another way for them to keep people trapped because they don't understand what they're actually giving away from the beginning. Because Drake is not somebody who came in business savvy. He's someone who did not expect to have a career. So when you see something like this happen, you start saying to yourself, wow, like, this is real talk. Like, this is what really goes down. This is like shocking that here we are 50, 60 years ago fighting for the rights to just be in a certain thing, to control your own music, control what you distribute, and we still haven't figured this part of the game out. That's disappointing to me. That's very disappointing that we still haven't figured this out 50, 60 years down the line. That's a failure. It's been decades, man. People who sign a record deal now with a label and expecting to, they expected basically to right away they masters the second, for their sound recordings. The act, you might have some writing credits. You'll get paid off songwritings and things of that nature, but the actual studio live recordings of their material, people often confuse the masters with general copyright ownership as part of a typical record deal. But relinquishing your music's master rights is part of how an artist will secure his financial support off the label to pay for recordings and releases in the future for your record. With the music master rights under the control, labels can license, the masters, to a third party for a movie, for a TV show, for commercials. You get it, right? And that's big money without having to even make anything anymore. How many times we've heard James Brown's song, "Whoa, I feel good. Na, 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 I knew that I would now." If James Brown was getting the paid off of that, that has been in movies, commercials, everywhere for years. For about 30, 40 years. People's catalogs make money. But some of the biggest artists in the world who sell all these millions of records, they figure it out too late. See? See, the record companies get you because they have the master's licensing fees. So that means it stays there because you got to pay the fees in order to get the masters and everything else. So you have to have this in your contract, negotiate it before you even walk through the door. I don't even know why an artist in today's time would not even think of putting that in their contracts. Who is your manager who walks into the door to make this contract? Lil Wayne is in a lawsuit right now with his manager. If I'm getting into something that's going to be signed, I'm going to be signing, and this is my life and my career, I got to read it as well as him. I got to know, from learning after seeing everybody else get screwed over, I got to learn from that and say, hey, I saw such and such get screwed. Nailed to the cross. I can't let that happen to me. That's got to change. You got to change that dynamic right then and there. Songs can become a hit And people could command mastering fees as high as $100,000 or more. See, if the artists have repaid the label's investment in them, the advance money through their record sales, royalties, or whatever, then this is what's called a recoupment. You're recouping the money that they've loaned you that you think is yours. When he's like, this is my signing bonus. Gotta pay that back, bruh. When you do that, you negotiate that in a contract. Then that way you can share in some of the master licensing's revenue. But often, record labels are able to manipulate you to signing that away and keeping all of the additional income. Some artists get smart right away and they break it off and they rebrand their names and everything. It's like Snoop Doggy Dogg when he was in Death Row. He was Snoop Doggy Dogg. All the songs on, all the songs Snoop made with the Chronic and Gin and Juice and all that, he's only was getting paid as a song artist. The masters stayed with Death Row Records and they controlled all his masters. So he had to rebrand himself as Snoop Dogg because they would not relinquish his name. He signed away his rights to his name. He signed it away. Signed away his publisher. So, your publishing rights and your masters, gone. You see? Now, record companies are smart. That's how they stay in business. If they was to do this for every single artist that came around, they wouldn't be around. This is how they're able to keep all this additional income in the family. And some little kid in suburbia land is going to college and putting their kids to school off music you've made and you can't even afford to keep your lights on. But at one time you sold 8 million records. And you got to hear your song play all over the world and you getting pennies while they're getting millions. Forever. Something's wrong with that picture, don't you think? I'm just saying. The streaming services. Yeah, well, streaming is different. I have not mastered the knowledge into the streaming process, but, music listening is different now than how it is, and for like indie and major artists. But retaining your master recordings, that's never going to change. Your music is important to you. You're going to want to own it. For people to discover and enjoy music that didn't exist about a decade ago and all that stuff, you got all the Spotifys, the Amazons, the Apple Musics and stuff like that. These things, hundreds of unauthorized sites are putting in new music legally through all these delivery systems. I cannot possibly tell you how all of that works. I would be a fool to sit here and try to say, I know exactly how that works. I don't. But the master recordings for that, this stuff never changes. And Lil Wayne, to basically short sell Drake's and Nicki's music. I think Drake's catalog is worth about at least 100 million, if not more. I really do. I think they got a bargain deal for it, for Lil Wayne. He's in a $20 million lawsuit with a manager right now. He's getting ready to go face jail time again. His back was against the wall. People can be compensated for things like copyright holders. they've always been copyrighted. I mean, compensated for the use of things in their songs, whether it's via traditional radio or new streaming services. With the rise more and more of new outlets for like music consumptions, the mastering rights for certain things, or you could just use it to leverage, to earn money. Some people sign away their masters to secure a record deal, but they should have a chance to buy it back. That all these things can be negotiated in a contract, saying, "Look, I have to have a chance to buy my masters back." There's got to be a way to do that. But I rarely would. If I got to sign away my masters to get a record deal, I might as well be independent. And in today's market, independent is the best way to go. Own yours and say, I will do a partnership with you, and then you can distribute. We'll do a distribution deal. Or you can distribute my music, but my brand is mine. You get nothing. You get no piece of this. You get a piece of what we can work on together and build. But not every artist is in position to do that at the time. How do you keep your masters? What is a way you could do it as an artist? Alright, dude. Normally I'll tell you to go to the Casino for Life Patreon for this information. And I should be putting that on the Patreon. So, the record business haven't changed that much. So, for anybody else who want to learn, and you're a rap artist and you want to learn how to control this situation, I will be putting it on the Patreon. It's your boy Casino for Life. Sorry, man. I mean, look, they pay for the information, so that's very valuable information. So I'd rather be putting myself protected over there. So yes, definitely Casino for Life is the name. Subscribe to the page. Hit that notification bell. Casino for Life on the Patreon. Go check that out. And God bless you. And I'm out.